The sun rises over the Sea of Japan, slow, deliberate, as if the heavens themselves hesitate before unveiling the stage of destiny. Gold bleeds into silver, brushing the waves with a tremulous light. Mist coils like the breath of an unseen giant, weaving between the folds of water and sky. The sea moves with ancient patience, each wave turning heavy, deliberate, thoughtful, as though the ocean itself contemplates the history about to unfold. Then, the horizon darkens. Not clouds, not night, something vast, moving, a wall that breathes, sails, hundreds of them. Masts like forests rising from the deep, flags bite the morning light, black teeth against the dawn. The Mongol fleet advances from the coast of Korea, departing from Mazan Bay with a contingent of nearly 40,000 men, riding aboard over 900 ships of various sizes. Oars strike the water in perfect rhythm, each stroke a drumbeat of empire. On the decks stand men of many tongues, Mongols hardened by the steppe, their armor smelling of iron and wind. Chinese engineers carrying strange weapons wrapped in oilcloth. Korean sailors whose hands know every mood of the sea. Each sail bears the mark of Kublai Khan, the seal of the great Yuan, a world that believes itself unstoppable. 40,000 souls cross an iron-grey ocean to break a nation of islands that has never bowed. Wind lashes faces burned by salt and anticipation. Ropes groan and twist under the weight of men and cargo. And then the drums, boom, 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 a heartbeat for conquest. The sound rolls across the decks, through the bones of every man, until even the sea seems to echo back its rhythm. Commanders pace the planks, eyes fixed on a coastline still hidden by fog. Some men whisper prayers to strange gods, others whisper to their swords, promising glory. Some stare into the mist, searching for omens in the pale light. All of them feel the same thing, that history itself leans forward, watching. Far ahead, on the beaches of Kyushu, Japan's defenders wait. They have heard rumors of the fleet, of the monstrous numbers, of the strange weapons that spit fire and smoke. Samurai kneel in armor that gleams like tempered dusk. Calm eyes beneath crested helmets, unmoving even as the wind tugs at banners. Beside them stand warrior monks, heads shaved, robes soaked with sea spray, farmers, fishermen, blacksmiths, clutching spears and whatever tools they can wield as weapons, form the irregular ranks beside them. They do not speak, they listen. To the waves, to the wind, to the bells that drift from distant shrines. They know the enemy is countless. They know this ground is sacred. The first gulls rise from the shore, their cries lost in the growing wind. The sea begins to shift, uneasy beneath the weight of what approaches. Small ripples stretch into long shoulders of water. Clouds knit together dark as hammered iron. Rain pricks the skin like needles, not yet a storm, but a promise of one. Still, the fleet presses on, driven by ambition, by the decree of Kublai Khan, who dreams of binding all horizons to his throne. The men row and chant, their voices lost beneath the thundering oars. Drums call, banners whip, the coast draws near, the first keels grind on the sand, anchors splash, gangplanks crash down. The world erupts, mud swallows the feet of the invaders. Horses rear and scream, hooves hammering water into silver spray. Arrows rise in black curves, hiss through the rain, and fall like the judgment of gods. Men scream, shields ring, steel meets steel, a language older than any empire, one that needs no translation. The samurai surge from the haze with precise fury, cutting through ranks, vanishing back into the breath of the storm. Their blades flash like lightning, vanish like ghosts. The Mongols lock shields, tighten ranks, move as a single machine, formation against faith, discipline against devotion. A flat crack cuts through the chaos. The Mongols throw grenades, small spheres of iron and bamboo, filled with black powder and death. They burst with the sound of thunder trapped in a cage, throwing geysers of flame and stone. Smoke coils thick and bitter, blotting the sky. The defenders stagger blind, their ears ringing. For a heartbeat the line falters, and then steadies. A shout cuts through the smoke, a drum answers, and a blade rises, gleaming. The samurai charge again, voices rising like a prayer of defiance. The line holds. The land itself seems to join the fight. From the hills above Hakata Bay, archers release their arrows, thin, deadly whispers that find chinks in foreign armor. Riders lure the enemy into gullies where mud grips their hooves and will not let go. Every path that seems straight twists suddenly into traps. Every clearing hides a blade. The defenders do not fight for conquest, they fight for home. Across the shallows, Subdue, the Mongol commander, watches. Rain beads on his armor, streams down his face. He knows the plan that gleamed in the tent. Neat lines, maps, promises of easy victory are dissolving in the hands of the sea. Signals vanish in spray, units lose the shore. The beach becomes a single drowning color, mud, blood, and iron. He rides along the line, voice raw, blade drawn, forcing order back into chaos. But the storm that brews is no longer made of men. It is something larger, patient, watching. Drums dull to distant thuds, orders turn to gestures. The wind grows heavier, colder, as if it has been given purpose. The air thickens, a breathless pause, the hush before the hammer. Then the sky breaks. A spear of white rips from cloud to sea. Thunder rolls like a mountain cast into the world. Walls of wind slam into the masts, twisting sails into screaming ribbons. Ships collide with one another, timbers groaning as if alive. Men cling to ropes that snap like snakes. The shore vanishes behind curtains of relentless rain. The divine wind arrives. Kamikaze. No words are spoken, only the force of an old, patient, merciless power. Waves rise like beasts, bellies black and teeth shining. Decks are swallowed whole, horses flung skyward, only to crash into cold green silence. Warriors are lifted and deposited as though the sea itself decides their fate. Where lightning finds gunpowder, fire blooms, consuming timber and hope alike. For an instant the ocean burns, and then the rain swallows even that. No formation survives. No courage tames it. Armies are for men. The storm belongs to no emperor. The fleet that could have unmade a nation is reduced to splinters in the hands of the sea. Hours stretch into a blur of wind and water. Shouts fade to whispers. Whispers fade to nothing. Finally, the rain loosens its grip. The wind sinks back into itself. Clouds fray. Light returns, cautious, pale, as if unsure it is welcome. Morning reveals devastation. The water lies smooth, innocent, flat as a polished blade. Among it drift banners, shields, and shattered dreams. Beaches wear a necklace of wreckage. Masts like broken spears, hulls like torn ribs, armor glinting like the eyes of the dead. Survivors crawl from the surf, kneeling without thought, hands buried in sand that does not answer. High on the cliffs, the samurai bow their heads. No cheer, no triumph, only breath, knowledge that something greater than sword or strategy stood between their home and the world. They sheath their blades and watch the tide carry the night away. Far across the sea, word rides to Kublai Khan. Vengeance is sworn. Another armada will come, but not this day. The lesson is carved where emperors cannot erase it, in wind, water, and memory of men who saw the sea rise like a god. Years pass. The story does not fade. It becomes a warning when clouds gather at noon, a prayer when fishermen read the chop of waves. It becomes a name, the divine wind. Kamikaze, the breath that defended the islands of the rising sun. Centuries later, storms still roll in from the open water. Each carries a voice. Not loud, not cruel, simply certain. It says no empire is eternal, no flag commands the sky. The sea remembers, and sometimes it chooses. On that day in 1274, it chose Japan. Look again at the coastline. Mist returns to its patient work. Temple bells mark the morning. Armor dries on wooden racks. A child runs along the sand, chasing a gull that refuses to be caught. The world continues, quieter, older. The Mongols came like a storm born of men. They met a storm born of no man. The sea wrote the ending no strategist could draft. Steel bent, oaths broke, banners sank, but the islands endured. Remember the drums that began this day. Hear how the waves repeat them now gently, teaching a different rhythm. Remember the faces on the beach, calm, exhausted, unbroken. Remember the silence after victory, the only way to honor the fallen. The sun climbs higher, mist thins to thread. Beyond the last line of light, the world is vast and hungry. But here, for this morning, the wind is kind. It moves the grass on the headland. It touches the water without raising its hand. And in that touch is the echo of a promise. No matter how many sails rise, some powers bow to no crown. The divine wind blew once, and Japan stood. Let the sea hold the rest. Let the storm keep its secrets. Let the bells answer the waves, and the waves answer the bells, until memory becomes legend, and legend becomes the quiet courage of ordinary days. The fleet is gone. The islands remain, and the wind still knows their names. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into one of history's most epic battles. If you were as inspired by this story as we are, please hit that like button, share this video with fellow history lovers, and subscribe to our channel for more legendary stories. We'll see you in the next one.